Hey everyone, and welcome back to Visceraverse. In the previous video, we discussed occipital and temporal bones in more details. So make sure you watch them and then come watch this video about the internal features where we take a deeper look at these bones. So to orient ourselves, here we're looking from above, where the brain is removed. We're looking at the internal aspect of the skull. And for the sake of this video, we're going to be focusing on two important bones, the occipital bone here and the temporal bone right here. So let's break down the occipital bone. As we discussed in the previous video, we said that we have important key structures that we want to be able to recognize. The first one is the squamous part, and it's this posterior part of the occipital bone. And then we have the bulky basilar part right here. And then lastly, one of the most important parts in the occipital bone is the foramen magnum. Breaking down the temporal bone, again, we have two important structures that we want to keep in mind. We have the squamous part, and we have another important part that is rock-like. It looks more like a pyramid, and that's the petrous part. The reason this part is important is that it houses the middle and the inner ear. Now let's look at the major gateways. First, the big one for blood here is the jugular foramen. Here you can see it from the inside. And if we're going to look a little bit behind it, we're going to see a big groove, and that groove is called sigmoid sinus groove. This is the main drainage of your brain, and it goes all the way and drains into your jugular vein. Flanking the jugular foramen that we just talked about are critical nerve passages. The first one is a bit medial, and inferior to it is the hypoglossal canal, from where cranial nerve 12 passes. Another important foramen here is the internal acoustic meatus, and it's located right here, and from there passes two important nerves, cranial nerve 7, the facial nerve, and cranial nerve 8, that's the vestibulocochlear nerve. Finally, let's talk about the arterial supply. So in the previous video, we have talked about the carotid canal and the carotid artery. And we said that the internal carotid artery travels through the tunnel in the temporal bone called the carotid canal. Its journey inside the bone ends right here at the foramen lacerum. This is a key landmark that will pick up the story of where the artery goes in the next or future videos, but for now, remember that it's the exit point from the petrous bone. So guys, today's video was pretty simple and straightforward, so let's do a quick recap of what we discussed so far. We've talked about the occipital bone and its parts, including the squamous part, the basilar part, and the foramen magnum. We also talked about the temporal bone parts. In the previous video, we said we have 4 important parts, but for the sake of this video, we're going to focus on the squamous part and the petrous part. And why is it important? It's because it houses the inner and the middle ear. Lastly, we talked about the major openings and grooves, including the jugular foramen, the sigmoid sinus groove draining into the jugular vein, hypoglossal canal, and internal auditory meatus, and from there passes important cranial nerves, including cranial nerve 12, 7, and 8, the carotid canal, and we discussed a very important structure here that we're going to talk about in more detail in future videos, which is the foramen lacerum. In anatomy, always remember that the more you look at visuals, the more likely you're going to memorize stuff and be able to visualize it. So let's look at this illustration here. Here again, we have the squamous part of the occipital bone. This is the basilar part. This is the petrous part of the temporal bone, and this is the squamous part. For the grooves that we talked about already, or the foramens, here we have the jugular foramen. Flanking it are 2 important structures, the hypoglossal canal and the internal acoustic meatus. Then we also talked about the sigmoid sinus groove here, which drains into the jugular vein. That's it, guys. I hope you found this video helpful. In the next video, we're going to talk about cervical vertebra. In the previous lecture, we discussed the temporal bone, and the previous one is the occipital bone. Make sure to study these and review them before you move to future videos. Don't forget to subscribe, and see you in the next video.